Hello Power Rangers Lightning Collection fans, and welcome back to Toku Topics. Iceberg memes. You may have seen them all over YouTube for numerous things such as video games, movies, Garfield, and even Mountain Dew. Ever since last year when I first saw blameitonjorge's Lost Media Iceberg, which scarred me for life, I knew I wanted to create one for the Lightning Collection. So today, I'm going to break down my very own Power Rangers Lightning Collection Iceberg. Let's dive in. Back at Power Morphicon 2018 was when Hasbro debuted the entire Lightning Collection toy line. At this event, they announced that each release would be the most accurate Power Rangers figures ever made, and include weapons, swappable actor likenesses, swappable hands, and optional effect pieces. The first figure shown off was the MMPR White Ranger for a spring 2019 release, retailing at $19.99. While this was the original price point for a good amount of time, in today's current shipping and supply chain crisis in light of the COVID-19 pandemic, prices on everything in the Lightning Collection have gone up, with the figures moving from $19.99 to $22.99, 2-packs from $39.99 to $41.99, and deluxe figures from $29.99 to $31.99. Lightning Collection items take a while to be made, and in the time span between development and an actual announcement and release, they need to let retailers know what is coming down the pipeline. For this reason, most entries in the line are assigned code names to keep people who stumble upon listings for them from figuring out what they truly are. This doesn't always work, as the first codename system, based off of the NATO language, was cracked easily, followed by the second code system, based off of the names of the planets and other space-related terms. But today's new releases are primarily coded using names from Geoffrey Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales stories, making them the hardest ones to crack yet. Artist and illustrator Tom Whalen is the one behind all of the pretty artwork featured on the boxes for the Lightning Collection figures and roleplay items. Having worked on the line since the very beginning, it allows for everything to share a common design language and look great when lined up on a shelf. Since most of his art is wrapped around the sides of the boxes or gets cut off by logos, Tom uploads most of his full pieces into a gallery that you can see on his website. Fan First Fridays are official product reveal events held by Hasbro Pulse on their social media pages or live streams on their YouTube channel. While they don't occur every single week, they are panels hosted by members of a certain brand's team to show off new items and launch pre-orders. These can range from any of Hasbro's major brands, and of course, Power Rangers included. The Hasbro Power Rangers team claimed that the Lightning Collection release patterns are scheduled around a storytelling-like plan, in which characters that would go nice with others are on the shelves around the same time. Examples of this at work would be the Rita and Zed 2-pack and the Zordon and Alpha 5 2-pack, one being for the leaders of the good guys and one for the leaders of the bad guys, while also having MMPR Green come out soon after, with accessories to make him either the good version or the evil version for whichever display you would want. When Lightning Collection items are shipped to stores, they come in what is called a case. For the main waves of figures, there are 4 different figures packed 8 to a case. For the first 8 waves, this was often broken down into one character being featured 3 times, 2 times, 2 times, and 1 time, therefore making one rarer than the others. Ever since Wave 9, however, each figure comes to a store 2 per case. However, some stores are able to order solid cases of 8 of the same figure, often something available for the international markets, but this is also how store exclusives are often shipped. Monsters and Versus packs come 4 to a case with 2 of each type, while bigger items like roleplay helmets and other weapons ship in a case of their own or in a unique number. Hasbro has a plan for when they want info on upcoming items to be shared officially. However, with so many people behind the development of action figures and so many stores that need to be kept in the know, it is inevitable that leaks will happen in certain places. Oftentimes these come in the form of decoding code names, internal store systems putting things up publicly earlier than they were supposed to, or anonymous sources who are in the know sharing things to people like me. Speaking of leaks, this will date the video depending on when you were watching it, but a Tenga 2-pack is coming out in 2022, so be on the lookout for that. Who knows how this one will be different, but I guess we'll see. The Spectrum Series variants were a series of Target-exclusive packaging released in late 2020 for the Wave 7, Monsters Wave 1, and Versus Packs Wave 1 lineup of figures. These were black boxes compared to the regular white boxes that featured new artwork from Tom Whalen as well as shiny foil parts to the design. The actual figures inside were completely the same, though these did have new barcode numbers and are treated as separate releases. In the fall of 2020, a 12-inch untransformable posable Zeo Megazord figure was released. For the longest time, all of the leaks for this item seemed to point to it being considered part of the Lightning Collection line of products, with LC being used on a display stand at the Australian Toy Fair it was first shown off at, to the pet codename for Lightning being used in its internal codename. By the time it was officially revealed, months after releasing internationally, it was shown off during the retro segment of items at Hasbro PulseCon 2020, and the final finished product shows no trace of it being considered Lightning Collection, despite some retailers still claiming as such. At times, Hasbro does not seem to know what is going on when they announce stuff. At Magna Barcelona in November 2019, when revealing the SPD Red Ranger figure, instead of a picture of the character Jack Landers, played by actor Brandon J. McLaren, a picture of a cosplayer was shown off instead. This ended up being a 2013 DeviantArt picture by Kel Hero that came up quite early in a Google search result for SPD Red. Big goof up on Hasbro's part. In the Power Morpher released at Walmart in 2020, there is a hidden sound that was not advertised. If your hand is blocking the plates from opening properly and you're holding down the button, the voice of Alpha Phi's classic catchphrase can be heard. This secret sound is also present in the 2021 GameStop exclusive Pink Ranger Morpher as well. Ever since late 2020, Hasbro has made a handful of monsters first seen as the Monsters of the Week in random episodes of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. A common complaint with these figures is their scale in relation to the Rangers. While the typical Rangers stand around 6 inches, these monsters were announced to be 7 during their reveal at Hasbro PulseCon, but the final products ended up being 8 inches big, towering over the Rangers and even other villain characters released such as Goldar. Some fans are completely fine with this inaccurate scale compared to the show, as they think monsters should be bigger and imposing, while many other fans do not. Justin Hunt's is a store based in the Amcorp Mall in Malaysia that has become famous for getting Lightning Collection figure releases in before anywhere else in the world. Starting back with the Psycho Ranger Team Pack and Dino Thunder White in the summer of 2020, they even got these items in before Hasbro ever officially announced their existence. This has continued into 2021, with releases like the Lord Zed helmet releasing there before the US, and who knows what they'll get in stock next. The personal weapons of the Zeo Ranger 3 Blue have been a long time missing item for the Lightning Collection. They were first shown off during the reveal of Zeo Blue for Wave 4 to the attendees of London Comic Con 2019, where they were present on the deco spec for the upcoming figure. Following confusion about what was happening in Wave 4, updated deco specs were released on the Power Rangers Twitter account in mid-November 2019, showing the Tonfas now missing, which was confirmed to actually be the case for the final release when the figure came out in January 2020. Hope was finally given to those who wanted them, as a question answered during Hasbro Pulse Fan Fest in April 2021 revealed they would be included with an upcoming figure in 2022, finally being revealed during PulseCon 21 as the standalone cog in Wave 11. Dennis Chan, or @AlwaysBumping on Twitter, is one of the freelance sculptors who has worked on a number of Lightning Collection entries. Not only did he make the Dragon Shield body that got 3 different releases back in 2019, he was responsible for the male Psycho Ranger body seen released every year of the line so far. One of his most detailed pieces so far was the Amazon exclusive Finster, a sculptor by a sculptor. It was a perfect project for him. In June 2021, the Chinese Wonder Festival was an event held in Shanghai that featured a number of Power Rangers products on display. One of these ended up being a rumored 2-pack for InSpace's Ecliptor and Astronema. However, this set had not been announced yet, and it wouldn't actually be officially announced for another 2 months during Power Month in August. To celebrate the anniversary of the Power Rangers franchise in August 2021, Hasbro revealed the most Lightning Collection figures ever in 1 month in what they called Power Month, with each week following a certain theme that had an associated poster for it shown off at the end. Week 1 saw the TMNT crossover figures announced, Week 2 the next wave of Retromorph figures at Walmart, Week 3 the Target exclusive Ninja Rangers, with Ninja Blue being shown off as the 100th figure on the line, and Week 4 for the villains. Just like in 2020 with the Spectrum variant boxes for Target, it was revealed during Hasbro PulseCon 2021 that Wave 11 in 2022 will have a special release at Walmart, this time labeled the Power Pop Art variants, but when will these release and how is currently up in the air, beyond spring 2022. Wave 7 saw the release of the Z-Putty Army Builder figure, which included a special effect piece to clip onto their chest to replicate the explosion that happens when the Rangers tap the Z's. However, before Z-Putty was ever confirmed to be in the works, this effect piece got a release in the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Putty Patroller 2-pack, in which YouTuber Lawns Toys during his review noticed that the backside of it had a circle indent that would fit the design of a Z-Putty perfectly, giving proof that they would be on their way. The biggest complaints for the Lightning Collection come from inconsistency and incorrect details on a number of the figures. Whether this is the completely run belt buckle on the Dino Charge Black figure, the sculpt and paint application of the MMPR Red Ranger helmet, the boots missing holster and stripes on Lunar Wolf, or the visors of the SPD Rangers being inconsistent, Hasbro appears to not pay much attention when they are developing a number of these figures. Some details are pointed out with enough time to be fixed before final production, such as the shoulders on In Space Pink lacking white details on the promo images, or the not needed white paint on Lost Galaxy Blue's helmet, both of which were corrected, but some are not so lucky, like the missing diamonds under the shield on the Wave 7 Mighty Morphin Green, with the answer of certain promo images being referenced not having them used as the scapegoat for this error. If paint details on the figures weren't enough, visor trims are all over the place on the Lightning Collection. The Power Rangers Zeo suits all have white trims around the shapes on their helmets, something only red and yellow got in figure form. Pink, green, and blue all included silver trimmed visors for some reason. Of course, the most infamous examples of a visor trim issue was with Dino Thunder White, who was lacking the trim around his red visor, something so bad and so noticeable that Hasbro started a helmet replacement program for the figure, where they would send you a new piece when contacted on their customer support page. Unfortunately, a year later, the A-Squad Pink Ranger figure would ship with the completely wrong visor detail than what was ever shown on her prototype, with no replacement program having been announced at this point. In July 2020, Hasbro released their own version of the iconic Dragon Dagger weapon in the Lightning Collection. This version was the first to allow one to play the classic tune with the correct notes on the keys, but what it was also first to do was include a Dragon Zord design on the bottom of the dagger that is usually just a solid circle. But this wasn't the actual Dragon Zord coin design seen from G-Ranger or MMPR. It was actually the fan-made design from the Power Rangers replica prop makers, with theirs having extra design detail markings not seen on screen. Was this a Google image research mistake again, or something intentional? To those who got to attend MCM London Comic Con in 2019, they left with a special poster of the MMPR Tom Whalen artwork from some of the 2019 figures, including MMPR Red and Pink, as well as Lord Zed and Goldar. This is one of the few times Tom Whalen's Lightning Collection artwork has been released in a physical format other than on the boxes themselves. Speaking of Tom Whalen artwork being released on posters, in the summer of 2019, when Wave 2 went up for pre-order on Hasbro Pulse, you could get a Wave 2 themed card along with any order of the figures in the wave. This included the full Wave 2 artwork layout on the front with character bios on the back, which was odd in the case of Magna Defender, as Hasbro defended the figure not coming with a Mike civilian head, as this being the original version before Mike took over the powers. However, the pre-order card specifically talks about Mike in the character bios. While both versions of the Lightning Collection Power Morphers have had voice phrases inside, the Pink Ranger one especially has a number of phrases never said by Kimberly in the actual series. Well, it turns out that these were not new lines recorded by Amy Jo Johnson, but instead were recorded as a sound-alike by voice actress Lizzie Freeman, as confirmed by her Twitter. I think she did a great job, personally.
Taking it over to Tyrannosaurus!
Amazon is known in the collector world as being pretty terrible with their shipping practices and keeping items safe. And while the Lightning Collection was not spared from this, one figure in particular seemed to get it worse than any other, as when the SPD Omega Ranger and Uniforce Cycle came out, more often than not, Amazon would ship them in bubble mailers instead of full boxes. And with there being no cardboard back tray in this figure release, it was less sturdy than others, causing a recipe for disaster where it was very difficult, especially for inbox collectors, to get one that was not completely destroyed, made worse by the fact that it had to be purchased on Amazon because it was an exclusive to that store. Back to the Wave 4 reveal era once again with a price increase that we never saw, at least back then. When Zeo Blue was shown off in October 2019, the press release listed him and the rest of the wave as a fall 2020 release at the increased price of $21.49. often a decision assumed to be a result of tariffs placed on China around the same time. However, with no further word on these updates, the wave ended up releasing at the end of January 2020, only 3 months later, and still at the $19.99 price. The proper reveal of the whole Wave 1 lineup occurred at New York Toy Fair in February 2019, but this was closed off to pictures and videos until the prototypes were out on the show floor. Due to this, info had to be gathered by those live tweeting inside what was happening. Apparently, due to Beast Morphers Yellow having some sort of artwork being shown on the slides, it led to a post claiming that Beast Morphers Yellow was getting a Lightning Collection figure, when it really wasn't, something clarified quickly after. Despite that follow-up tweet, many only saw the original tweet, and for months afterward, fans wondered where this never actually existing figure was. Though, it seems like we might be finally getting one, as current leaks list her as part of the Wave 13 lineup for 2022. Most leaks for the Lightning Collection end up panning out, some taking months to finally appear in an official announcement, while others just fade away in the background with nothing ever coming of them. 3 listings like this, LGY Camera, SRE Pinata, and Mars Atom, were some posted on my Twitter account that we have yet to see what they were. LGY Camera and SRE Pinata were names given to me by a reliable source in February 2021, but haven't appeared since. While Mars Atom has had an active page on the Walmart website ever since September 2020, there has been absolutely no updates on it since. Who knows if we will ever find out what these were supposed to be. When Wave 6 was in the leak stage, both the lineup of it and Wave 7 went through some changes. At one point, MMPR Green was supposed to be in the wave before being replaced with In Space Yellow. But was there possibly a third choice that it was going to be at one point? Once the wave was listed on the distributor website Southern Hobby, in the contents portion of the page, it listed a Wild Force Yellow Ranger to be included that clearly wasn't. Of course, it could have just been a typo from In Space, but it was still strange nonetheless. Wave 7 ended up being the strangest wave in the Lightning Collection so far, with only 3 figures and a repack of Wave 1's MMPR White instead of a 4th new figure. However, just like with Wave 6, there seemed to be a completely different plan at one point. The Wave 7 we actually got ended up being the first to use the second codename system of planets, but confirmed by @thejezz on Twitter, thanks to listings from a UK distributor website, the wave originally had the codenames of Ice Buckeye Romeo, which would have been In Space Black in the old code system, DTW Roger Romeo, assumed to be the Dino Thunder Red we ended up getting after all, a Sal Cell Romeo, which would have been for some sort of SPD Silver if we followed the old codes, maybe a Nova Ranger, and BDY Yankee Romeo, which would have been for Beast Morphers Yellow ironically enough. Unreleased figures have also plagued the Monsters subline. Whether it was poor sales, scaling issue backlash, or whatever the reason, plans for a Wave 2 and 3 did not go how they were supposed to. Leaked listings from the end of 2020 showed iGuy and Pirantis Head to be in the lineup for Wave 2, to be released in the summer of 2021. Thankfully, they seem to be far enough along in development to actually get releases, with iGuy coming out standalone and Pirantis Head being moved to the new Deluxe Wave assortments coming out in 2022. However, Wave 3 was not as lucky, as the codenames LGY Little Bang and BLM Sputnik were never figured out besides belonging to the seasons of Lost Galaxy and In Space, so it's unknown what Wave 3 was supposed to be and if we will ever get them released somewhere else in the future. In the comics, Lord Draken is essentially a fusion of Tommy Oliver's MMPR White Ranger and Green Ranger powers, and therefore wields both a Dragon Dagger and Saba. The Lightning Collection version of him only includes a Dragon Dagger, however it appears this wasn't always going to be the case, as the renders of his prototype, shown off during his reveal at Paris Comic Con in 2019, did in fact show him including a Saba, but only his Evolution 3 figure released a year later would actually include one for the character. From time to time, prototypes that are likely stolen out of manufacturing factories have appeared on eBay with incomplete figures. In 2019, a Zeo Gold prototype with an unpainted shield and no head was up for a brief period of time, and in 2021, an unpainted male Sega Ranger appeared on there as well. Currently, you can find incomplete versions of the Zed and Rita figure set there, but nothing else has really popped up in recent months. The ability for Hasbro to make civilian heads based off the numerous actors has been a point of debate for a long period of time. Power Rangers is historically a non-union show, and therefore it is assumed that the actors are not being paid for their likenesses. Oftentimes, actors appear surprised when a figure of them is announced, And besides the modern era of seasons who have their heads scanned specifically for purposes like this, it's unknown how much involvement any of the older actors have, though it's likely none at all. For this reason, some think that it's possible the more inaccurate portraits are done for those actors who are rumored to have a rocky relationship with the franchise, though obviously this is not confirmed by any means. At SDCC 2019, the original Red Ranger actor Austin St. John was present for the reveal that his character would be returning in Season 2 of Power Rangers Beast Morphers. This was perfect timing, as the exclusive set for that year was a Jason 2-pack of the Armored Red Ranger and Zeo Gold Rangers. To go along with this, ASJ had cardboard prints of the Tom Whalen box art for the Red Ranger that he could sign. Before the official reveal of Wave 1 at New York Toy Fair 2019, stand-in boxes were present on the display wall for the Lightning Collection. These followed the overall look the final boxes would have, but with some sort of text in place of the figure and generic lightning bolts in place of what would become Tom Whalen artwork. There is a theory that Hasbro intentionally messes up on Lightning Collection figures so they can sell fans the corrected versions later on. Hopefully this is not the case at all, but with some of the decisions that are made on the figures, it's hard to see how they can truthfully be that oblivious to what the suits and characters are supposed to look like and come with. And with that is it for the Lightning Collection Iceberg. Of course, this doesn't cover every single thing that has ever happened for this toy line, as we would be here forever if that was the case. I could have included things like the leaks for Wave 3 posted on 4chan in early 2019, or the secret reveal of Wave 2 at an Australian toy fair in early 2019, but I wanted to go over the major common knowledge and less common things that we've seen from Hasbro's collector series so far. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought of this video. Was there anything you never knew, or something you really hoped I would cover in particular that I did not include on the iceberg? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, and until next time, be sure to follow me on Twitter at LivingRangerKey or at LightningFigPR, and I'll see you all next time.